Hello everyone, we're going to be creating very fluid and beautiful cherry blossoms today. Cherry blossoms are starting to bloom everywhere in London and I'm so excited because I'm so ready for spring and warmer temperatures. Okay, so we're going to be creating these cherry blossoms using a wet to wet technique. So usually I wet only the areas where I'm going to apply the wet ink or the wet watercolor, but today we're going to be wetting the entire sheet of paper. So I'm using a Hake brush to create about 2 to 3 layers of water on our watercolor paper because we want the cherry blossoms to really blend together. We want the stems for the tree or the branches for the tree to really blend together beautifully. Okay, so to create the foundation, I'm using a Rowney Pearlescent ink as well as a Chinese watercolor ink, which I will leave in the description box below. Okay, so like I said, we're just creating a very light foundation for the cherry blossoms. So I'm using my Chinese calligraphy brush to apply a few lines for the stems or the branches of the tree. Just a few. We're not gonna go crazy. At the end, we're gonna start going back into it and creating more lines and more depth and more volume for the tree. But right now, I just want to create a few lines so that I can know where I want to put my flower petals. Okay, so I'm re-wetting my paper just a little bit around the tree branches because now I'm going to start to put in dots, literally just dots of ink around the tree branches. So I'm using Aero color in red and I'm mixing it together with magenta, a magenta color, and it's by Liquitex. So as you can see, some of the ink spreading a lot, some of it's just spreading a little bit. That's just because of the different areas of the paper drying faster than other areas, but it's fine. To me, that's even more beautiful when the flower petals are not the same sizes. So literally, I'm just creating these dots all over the paper around the tree stems. Okay, so now I'm dipping the same brush with the ink into a light gouache paint and it's in white. So I want the flower petals to be a little bit lighter than the center of the flower. So I'm literally just sweeping this mixture around the center of the flower petals using my brush in no particular direction, no particular order, just very light, abstract, and loose. And to me, the less defined it is, the more beautiful it is. So you don't have to be too perfect when you're creating these flower petals. And this is the part that probably takes the most time because you want to do it for each and every dot that you created. Okay, so now that that's finished, we're going to take this Winsor and Newton ink. It's in canary yellow. And while the paper is still wet, it's very important that you do this while the paper is still wet. I'm just literally dabbing this ink in the middle of each flower. So since the paper is still wet, it's spreading and it's blended together really beautifully with this blush pink color. So it doesn't look like it's separate. It's just blending all together very fluidly. Okay, so now this is the part that really brings it all together. I'm going to add in a lot more stems, a lot more tree branches, and they're just going to connect each and every cherry blossom. So it doesn't have to be in any particular order. Just really eyeball it and see, which cherry blossoms you want to connect and where you want to put the tree branches. I'm using the same mixture that I use for the base of the stems. I'm just adding in a little bit of, I added in a little bit of brown color to this green mixture so that it's a little bit darker and it creates a little bit of variation. Everything is not just light. Okay, so some of the lines are long and some of them are really short, just to connect the smaller flowers. And like I said, you can create as many or as few as you want. Personally, I don't like to overwork paintings. I don't like for them to be too cluttery. I really like that negative white space, so I'm just going to add a few more and then be done with that. Okay, so the very last thing that I'm doing is adding a little bit of white gouache paint to the center. There's a few dots to bring it all together. And guys, that's how you create beautiful fluid cherry blossoms using inks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the subscription button below. I upload a video every week teaching you how to use inks and watercolors, creating beautiful fluid flower paintings and eventually fashion illustrations. All right, I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week. Ciao.